Hi, welcome back to Happy Apple Core Homestead. Today we are going to do the July garden tour. It has really poofed since last month and I'm looking forward to showing you what's going on out there. I can tell you that it is almost harvest season here for me. I have been harvesting raspberries. I'll talk about that when we're out in the garden. But the big harvest and the big canning season is about to be upon us. And I am going to be a very, very busy girl. But don't worry, I'm still going to be here for you, and there will be some content out here for you guys to check out. Probably all going to be garden related, at least through the summer. Let's start in the greenhouse. We're not going to go all the way in because there's still that bird's nest in the back. But I'll show you my tomatoes, which are very happy, and they are flowering and looking good. You might, if I stop yammering, you might be able to hear the peeping of the birds back there. Did you guys hear that? Very cute. They're back there. I'm not going to show them to you because the mom got really mad at me last time, and I don't want to disturb her or the babies. Here we are at the entrance of the garden, but before we go in, I wanted to show you this time of year is when self-heal starts growing in the yard. And this is an amazing medicinal plant. I do grow it specifically in the garden, but it's in patches of grass everywhere, probably in your yard too, if you want to harvest some. Here we are entering. And I'll start you off on the same side as always. We've got a raspberry plant here, and this big giant plant is a mallow, and it's actually in a pot. And I'm guessing that the roots are probably growing down into the soil. I just never found a place to put it, so it's still here. In this trough we have blueberries and rosemary. I have not netted any of my berries this year. I know I said I was going to, but I think I just might not. We'll see how the bird activity goes. And this is all of the grapevines. They have really poofed out and they're growing beautifully. I think we're going to have a pretty good crop. When we get to the back side of the garden, I'll show you some of the flowers and the grapes that are growing. All along here we have shelling peas. They're getting to the point where they're going to need to be harvested soon. You want to wait until they're pretty plump. So these flat ones we would leave. But the real fat ones, like just a few more days and this one will be ready to harvest. Down below we have some mallow volunteers and jalapeno. The jalapenos are just getting started with their flowers, and they're doing okay. I'm not disappointed. The weather has been very dry and warm. Today I think it's maybe 80. We'll check the garden thermometer when we get over there. And it's a little bit after 2 p.m. right now. This one is about ready to go. And the peas are still flowering. A lot of life going on here. I've planted all of these peas in stages in order for me to actually be able to harvest them and process them. I do all of this work myself, and it's during harvest season it's really difficult if I have one crop that's huge and it's ready all at the same time. Down here we have a calendula volunteer. Very pretty. There's some feverfew down there as well that seed blew over from years past. And over here, again, more shelling peas in various stages of life. And more feverfew, quite a bit. I personally don't need any more, so if you're local and need some, let me know. This is another raspberry plant. I only grow raspberry shortcake. It's a thornless variety. This one's really all over the place, and it's almost done. I have been harvesting berries every day for about a month, and I'm getting 3 to 5 pounds a day, which is amazing. Maybe I'll make a raspberry wine because I have way more than I can eat. Let me know if you guys want a video on how to make raspberry jam or raspberry wine. I can do both of those probably for you with the amount that I have. This is a volunteer comfrey that needs to be harvested and dried. Also, I don't really need any more. So like with the feverfew, if you need some comfrey, please let me know. I will share it with you. This is the rhubarb. I do not harvest my rhubarb when the heat of the summer is on. This is yarrow. It's very good for stopping bleeding. Here's I think I might have missed that dragonfly I was trying to show you. Back here I have my garlic, and it is ready to harvest. When your bottom leaves have turned brown and your garlic falls over, it is done and time to harvest. This is all garlic back here. These are the Colombian giant thornless blackberries that I just planted, and I will be removing them and planting them somewhere else on my property, because I knew the fruit was huge, but I had no idea that the vines were going to be so incredible. And it's not going to be happy here long term. It needs much more space to grow and spread and do its thing. But let me show you how big these berries are. All right, here we go. Look and see how big these berries are compared to my hand. I'm so excited about them. I have harvested a couple, but most of them are not ready yet. This is my potato patch. They are all Yukon Golds. They can so beautifully, and they taste delicious even after they've been canned. You can fry them, you can mash them, you can do whatever you want with them, really. I will probably also, I'm gonna can 90% of them, and probably 10% I will batch cook into hash browns. And you can see that they are starting to fall over. When all of this greenery is yellow or brown, it will be time to harvest the potatoes. And when it starts looking like this, is a good time to come through and make sure that none of the potatoes are sticking out of the ground, like this one. This one's been eaten, so I'm just leaving it there so that the critters can go ahead and eat it. But you'll want to cover that up with soil. If you don't, and the potatoes get exposed to the sunlight, they'll turn green, and if they're green, they're bitter, and then you'll have to cut off that green part before you process them or eat them. Here we have the giant comfrey is all back again, even though I cut it all off a couple months ago. And here we have lemon balm. This is another raspberry patch. I have been so happy this year with my raspberry crop. It's pretty much done. There are still some berries, and there's even some flowers. I did harvest this morning, and I didn't miss any, but just since this morning, there are more that have ripened and are ready to harvest. These are my strawberries. Most of them are Seascape or TriStar. They're ever-bearing. And even though they are ever-bearing, they are mostly done for the year. I know I saw one in here. I'm just gonna show it to you. So the ones I'm getting now are pretty small. The first ones from the crop were really big and juicy and delicious. And the little ones are still good too. All along here we have shelling peas, and on the bottom are jalapenos. These peas are not even close to being ready to harvest. They're just coming on and still flowering, which is great. I won't have to do them all at once. All along here I have the jalapenos. They're flowering nicely. I'm hoping I get a ton of jalapenos because I eat so much of them. We have more raspberries here. And they're real good sized too. More rhubarb that I'm just letting it live its best life. Not gonna mess with it. And where I had potato volunteers, all of the peas that I planted did not grow, which I find very interesting. Perhaps potatoes and peas are not good companion plants. I didn't plant the potatoes here on purpose. They're volunteers from years past. More peas all the way down and jalapenos on the bottom. Here we have bergamot. We'll be ready to harvest soon. I usually harvest it before it flowers, like just before it flowers. Here is my chamomile, and I have been harvesting this not daily, but every other day, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's so many beautiful flowers. And once August hits, this plant will die back. So if I want more chamomile, I need to come and get it now. The peas over here are closer to being ready for harvest. Like this one is ready. But then this one here on the same plant is not. Here we have blueberries, and they are working on being ready. And most of these troughs also just have blueberries in them. I think I'll come out later this afternoon and harvest some. This bed is more shelling peas and potato volunteers with jalapenos on the bottom. There are some areas where the voles have come in. I do have some traps. These are the traps that I use, the Super Cat traps. I don't know if it's light enough for you to see that, but that's what they look like. And they work great. Here is a pea. This pea right here, see how plump it is? If I don't harvest this tomorrow, it's gonna be, the peas on the inside will be a little bit dry. And it's perfectly okay if you wanted to leave your peas on and not harvest them and just have like dried peas. That's okay too. But I want fresh peas. Some more blueberries here. And more shelling peas and jalapenos. And there's some volunteer calendula that hasn't flowered yet, but it's going to. I'm pretty excited. I like the calendula flowers in the garden. They brighten up the fall for sure. And you guys, I do not know what is going on with this corner of my garden. I thought that after giving my garden a year of rest last year would fix whatever is making this corner so very unhappy, but things just don't grow well here. And this year is no exception. Something has come in here and eaten it, or I don't know what's going on, but it's not happy. Thankfully, the garden is huge and one small patch is not going to ruin everything. These are more blueberries and a giant prickly weed that is flowering. Better pull that out. Here is the back side of the grapes, and I'll get in there and show you the little baby grapes growing. Still flowering a little bit, but see all those little balls? Those will turn into nice big grapes. And there's an awful lot of them. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my green grapes this year. What do you guys think I should do? I've already made wine. I've made jelly and jam. I eat a lot of them. What else should I do? Let's go down the center of the garden. I'll show you all of these beds. And we'll start with this one. Here are my cauliflower. I have been eating the cauliflower. Some of it I'm gonna let go to seed. But this one, and I think I told you last month I was gonna tie up the leaves, and I didn't, but it's fine. They look great. It turns out they look great. I've just been so busy this year with other things. This is chickweed. I harvested most of it, but surprisingly it's still coming back, even though it's a little bit hot for chickweed right now. Next to that we have sage. Here we have broccoli that has gone to flower and also gone to seed. So here's the seed pods getting started for the broccoli. And since this is my favorite broccoli, I always save seed every year from those. Over here we have cabbages and marigolds. The marigolds do a pretty good job of warding off the cabbage moths, but we've had a couple I've seen flying around. And the cabbage looks like a cone because it's a caraflex. That's the variety that I'm growing this year. I think they look so neat. This is my celery. That's what it looks like underneath. It grows very much like the kind in the grocery store. And this will be, I mean, you can harvest it now. You can harvest the outer stalks now, but typically it's ready to harvest in the fall, which is great because I like to, when I make my turkey in the fall, I like to put fresh celery leaves inside the cavity of the turkey. And down here, it's all more Yukon Gold potatoes. I almost always harvest my potatoes in August, the beginning of August. So we've got a couple more weeks to go, but I'll let the leaves tell me when they're done. And these were the first trellises that I showed you in the beginning of the video. The back side has the same thing as the front side, shelling peas and feverfew volunteers and some carrots. Got carrots growing in here on the bottom. In this bed we have pickling cucumbers and onions. I like to grow cool customer pickling cucumbers from Johnny's Seed, and the onions are Cortland storage onions. They're definitely not even close to being ready because these get huge. So here's my hand next to it. They'll get the whole size of my palm. So the cucumber flowers. And we do have little baby cucumbers coming in. I like to use this foldable trellis to train the cucumbers up. Over here we have corn, and all those little upside down bird spikes are just to keep the birds and the mice and stuff from eating the seeds. I did have row cloth here, but the maintenance was difficult for me with my time schedule. And this is not enough corn to actually get a product. Corn needs to be a minimum of a 4x4. It's wind pollinated, even though you can pollinate it yourself if you wanted to. You can pollinate the tassels on your own. But I'm guessing I'm not going to get corn, and maybe I'll get a little bit. We'll see. It's going to be a while. Here we have the English pie pumpkins, which originally my plan was to train these to grow amongst the stalks of the corn, and that is not what's happening. Lesson learned, and it's flowering right now. I am excited about having pumpkins. I tried to grow some just in my front yard last year, and something came along and ate them all. So I didn't have any pumpkins. And pumpkins, not only do I like it to make pies, I also like it for my chickens. It's very good for their little bodies. Here are my tomatoes. Half of them are Amish paste and half of them are grape tomatoes. And once again, I have to confess that last month I told you I was going to prune these, and I have not done it. It's not too late to prune all the suckers out and get some airflow through there, and I will do it. I have to do it because when the rains come, then you can get all kinds of problems if there's not good airflow at the bottom of the plant. There's some weeds growing in here too. It's been a minute since I've been out here to do the weeding. Down here, this beautiful carpet is all purslane. It's such a wonderful edible ground cover. It does have medicinal properties as well. More shelling peas and jalapenos. This is the Greek oregano, and it's getting ready to bloom in some areas. And here's the hyssop. Get my shadow out of the way. It won't be long before this one flowers. I do need to take a moment and get some of these herbs cut down. I like to harvest them before they flower if I can, but it's not always possible, and depending on how much I grow. All of this is thyme. like actual thyme, not my thyme. Herbal thyme, and it is flowering, which is okay. I mean, it still tastes good. The flowers are edible and medicinal. Here's the self-heal that I grow in my garden, and the reason I grow the self-heal in the garden instead of just harvesting in the yard, I do harvest the flowers in the yard, but the leaves are medicinal too, and they grow so low to the ground in the grass that it just takes a lot longer. Here I can just, you know, grab a bundle and harvest them quickly and know that there's nothing else in it. It's really important for making medicine that it's not contaminated with any other herb. This is my marjoram, and it is also flowering. Almost flowering. Here's my lettuce. That has all gone to seed, and I just come out here and give it to my chickens. They love it. It's too bitter now for us to eat. Here's my parsley, which I cut all the way to the ground a couple weeks ago and dried it all, and it's all grown back. Time for me to do it again. Here's some spinach that has gone to seed, and I'll probably save some of these seeds. Down here is more Yukon Gold potatoes, and as with the peas, I planted the potatoes in stages, so my hope is they're not all going to be done at once. Now, you can leave your potatoes in the ground as long as you want, like all winter. They will start to grow more potatoes in the spring, so I do recommend that you pull them up before then. I harvest mine right away because of the voles and the mice and all of that. And I'm really excited. I ran out of the potatoes that I canned, so I'm just ready to start eating them. We also have a broccoli volunteer. This bed had broccoli in it before, and I was seed saving, and a lot of the seeds fell in the ground, and so every year it just keeps coming back. We even have some peas growing in here, because when the birds and the mice got a hold of them, they didn't eat them all, and they deposited them in other areas. It's the back side of the other trellis. We've got a pea here that got eaten by something down there at the bottom and it's dead, but all the rest of them look fantastic. We have a calendula volunteer coming on. And jalapenos at the bottom. There's another mallow volunteer. I feel like I might have called the mallow strawberry in my last video. It was really small and it looked like a strawberry, but it's actually mallow. This is my anise hyssop, which I love. It's one of my favorite herbs. If you like licorice, you'll like anise hyssop. We've got some more sage there in the back. These are in this little patch right here, I just planted extra plants that I had sitting around. These potatoes are flowering. They don't always flower, but when they do, they're very pretty. It is not a sign of anything bad if your potatoes do not flower. So don't let that stress you out if you don't have any. Same thing with garlic scapes. Your garlic is not always going to grow scapes, and it's not an indication that there's anything wrong with your garlic. Okay, here is the last bed. This is Mexican tarragon, and it is flowering. I think it was flowering last month too. I haven't harvested any of it yet, but I will. And this is purslane, which is getting ready to flower, and I will tell you that The seeds of purslane look like poppy seeds, but smaller. And if you don't like purslane or you don't want it growing in your garden, grow it in pots because it will always come back. This is sheep sorrel, and I've harvested pretty much all that I need of it. I know it's technically a weed, but it is great for medicinal purposes. We've got some savory. This is my basil. I know it looks funny, but it is basil. I thought it was all gonna die, but nope, it's happily growing away. We've got more purslane here, which obviously looks a lot less like a ground cover. It's quite tall. This is probably what I'm most excited about right now, is my dill. It might flower. I mean, it's starting to flower now, so I don't know if it's gonna be completely in line with my pickling cucumbers, but if not, that's okay. I'm still going to dry all of the fronds because I'm super low on dried dill. I just use the flower heads, the big flower heads, for the pickling, and then all the leaves I dry for culinary and medicinal purposes. Here we have more Cortland onions. Feverfew volunteers. Displaced peas that don't belong here, but they're growing, and so I'm just leaving them alone. They're all right. They're clinging on to the onions. This is going to be a huge onion. I cannot wait to show it to you when it's ready to harvest. And you'll know when the onions are ready to harvest when they turn brown and fall over. The greens fall over. Give you one last overview. Here is my thermometer that I keep in the garden, and I'm not sure if you can see that, but it is 80 degrees today. I thought I would take you out to my orchard too. I'm not going to show you everything, but this was what I call my feelings tree. It was a nectarine. It was a horrible purchase. They don't grow well here, and if you are going to grow them here, you need to be willing to do the maintenance to prevent leaf curl and other fungal problems. So, bless you, my friends, Cynthia and Heather. They rounded up some new trees for me, and I got those planted. I know it looks like a stick, but it's not. It's alive. So my feelings tree has been replaced with a plum, which grows much nicer here. And back here, I have a few other trees, and I planted another plum from my friends Cynthia and Heather. Thank you, thank you, thank you, ladies. It is also alive. Here is the other side of my little orchard. Over by the road, there's two small trees. And we've got a plum here. And all of the rest of them are apples over here. This one is an established tree, probably over 30 years old. It's growing some beautiful apples. And those two are apple trees. And this one is an apple tree, but this one over here is a pear tree. And it is growing pears. And my last tree, again, this is another well-established tree. Well, I guess it's not my last fruit tree, but the last one I was going to show you up close. Very well established, about 30 years old. And then beyond there, there's 2 more apple trees. So many apples. I don't know why I'm growing so many apples. Here's the back side of the garden. All right, let's go up and see the front. Here is my front yard, and I'm happy to report that the pumpkins and the cucumbers that I planted up here are doing great. They're growing strong and happy so far. Clearly a couple of little bugs have taken a nibble here or there, but not too bad. These need some water. They're looking a little wilty, but they're fine. Here's the extra tomatoes that I had. Also doing fine. Have not fertilized them. Have not done anything. It's just kind of an experiment to see, am I babying the main garden too much? Can I use less resources? This is just an experiment in that. And we've got some herbs over here. And that is it for the gardens. Thank you so much for walking through my garden with me. Please reach out to me down in the comments. Let me know what you think of my wild garden. Tell me what you are growing. Tell me what you would like to see from me. Give me some new ideas. Pop them down in the comments. And as always, if you would like to support me, please send me an email. I will get right back to you and send you my product sheets and pricing for all of my herbal remedies. And that information will be in the description box. Until next time, have a good day, you guys. Bye!